Thank you. Rick, hey, how you going, man?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Yeah, no, so pumped to chat to you. Something you don't know is that the last time I got to chat to you, you made a stinger for me, and I've used it on the podcast for like 6 years. So thank you so much for that. So
Outstanding.
I'm definitely a Rick Devens fan, man. Like, I genuinely thank you for having so much fun out there and just enjoying Survivor. I feel like sometimes that's lost in the game, but you're just the amount of like palpitation of the fun that you were having out there just shone through throughout.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I definitely have a lot of fun when I go out on that island and act like a maniac. So I'm really glad that people can appreciate that and can see that it's a legit thing.
Obviously, what we saw last night happened a little while ago, but how have you processed, I guess, the end of your game and kind of where you got? Because it seemed almost like celebratory in the way that it was like, okay, I've done everything I possibly can do to stay. There's no like stone unturned at this point. Like how have you processed that journey and I guess getting to that end point?
It's really interesting because it's very similar to season 38, which
Yeah.
is exactly what you said. Like, I left no stone unturned. I did everything I can to fight and stay in the game. And I have a few big fun moments that like I'm really proud of. So as much as I didn't win the game, I feel really good about everything. I don't really have any regrets. I don't look at anything that I could have done. I guess in 38, it's like I could have not given the half idol to Chris and, won the whole
Yeah.
thing. But in this one, it's like I still felt very far from the end. You know what I mean? Like it would have had to be some challenge wins, some idol finds to get me there. So I feel really great about everything. Like I'm not upset about it at all. I feel like if you had told me I could have walked away with what I have now going out there, like I might have taken you up on that deal. Everything I did was to try to win. And I'm bummed that I didn't get to plead my case at Final Tribal Council. But I'm also so happy with how things turned out.
Oh, look, equally bummed, but well, not as much. Obviously, you would feel much deeper. But I am sad we're not seeing that part. But I am excited for you to be on the jury and hopefully give some really good questions to that. One of the things for me with you, Rick, is that you know this is a really interesting season. Season 50, it kind of felt like the passing of the baton of these legends, these proper all-star legends that have been around for 2 decades for some of them, coming back and playing, and then not new era, but people playing for the second time. I really do feel like you have elevated even more so from that first experience into this experience, and you're going to come back. If you choose it, which I hope you will, there's no doubt in my mind you'll be back. But the threat level and the reputation that now exists with Rick Devens, how does one manage that? Not only, I guess, playing again, but also just in life. Like, how do you manage the threat level even out there? Because it seemed that you just had this huge target on your back even from day one.
I think going 7 years since the first time I played really helped. It wasn't my choice. I wanted to get right back out there. But having been that far and then being out there with such an incredible cast, I mean, when I'm sitting with Suri or D or all these other people, it's like, yeah, Devens does this one thing, but
Mm,
these are other huge threats. So, some breathing room before I go back would probably be a good thing. I'm
yeah.
totally down to go back again. I mean, I love playing Survivor. And I kind of felt after I played the first time like there's no way it could go that well again, right? There's no way I could
Yeah.
play such a big game and get deep again. And here we are. Like it really kind of did. And one thing that surprised me, Ryan, is like I assumed leaving this game that I would be equally as polarizing this time as I was last time. That the people who loved me would continue to love me, and the people who didn't would continue not to. And there's actually been a lot of people that are like, I hated you the first season, which I'm like, why? But they're like, but I love you this season because you played with joy, because you did these
Yeah.
things. And I'm like, what a gift. I'm so grateful for it. So it's been really awesome. I think time is really a big thing. And then just being out there with other big threats is really helpful.
Yeah, no, completely. This just in, Rick. People like you now. This is exciting.
That's right. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, no, I will take it every time. And I also think, because you see me on the show, like you see all my big moments, right? You see
Yeah.
all my stuff. When we're just in person around camp, like I'm really not trying to be that guy who's the center of attention all the time. Like I'm pretty low key around camp, so I think it kind of shocks people in a way. It's like, oh, he's a lot more. You even saw it pregame. Like
Mm.
when people were talking about me pregame, it was not positive. But when we got out on the island, it's like, oh, he's a lot more low key than I expected him to be. He's a lot more chill. Let's not worry about him for now.
It's the perfect strategy, right? Like you're big for the cameras in the IVs, confessionals, and just be normal around camp. But I think that is that's what makes it. Look, to be honest, your scene recently where you would like at the well, like throwing the water around, and I know there's other parts of it as well, like dancing and being silly.
Yeah.
But I may have watched that at least like 10 times. It was really good, and it's quite etched in my memory. It's one of my highlights of the season. Like I love Survivor. Survivor's meant to be fun, and for you to go out there and just have fun is just it's underrated. I guess the partnerships, relationships out there. Who to you, looking back retrospectively, were those people that I guess you got to have fun with?
I mean, Christian, an obvious one.
Yeah.
Love him, and we had so much fun. The camera people were like, "Okay, enough! Stop making the Paramount Plus Star Trek jokes." Like we were so over the top when it was just the two of us out there. And then Emily was just like my chaos buddy. We would
Yeah.
get together, and it would be just the two of us, and we'd be like, come up with the dumbest possible thing we could do that would be fun. And then Christian or Sheree would come over and we'd tell them and they'd be like, no, what? No, you're going to blow up everything. We're like, okay, all right, we'll wait. And of course, later when it got to be just the two of us, we did our best to be chaotic and do the dumb thing. Um, Loved being with Sheree until she had to pick a side, and
Yeah.
didn't pick our side. That's fine. But she's part of her superpowers. She's just fun to be on a desert island with. So I had the greatest time. And there was even relationships with people that we were actively working against each other, like Jonathan, for instance, who really enjoyed his company on the island. Like we had a lot of fun joking about
Yeah.
stuff. Ozzy, we were back and forth strategically, but always loved the dude. So I really treasure all those relationships, whether it's an ally or an adversary. It's like we can probably, have a good time out here.
Yeah, the adversary one is fun because Joe like didn't seem to like Rick Devens. He's not he wasn't a fan. But like for me it seemed as if you didn't take it personally. Like you still had moments, you still had the connection and you were still just playing the game. Like can you talk a little about what it's like when there's someone who's like so vehemently like not with you?
Yeah, and I knew it to an extent out there. First, Joe and I are good now. Like
Yeah.
we've been sending messages back and forth. He's a dad, I'm a dad. I'm hoping our kids will be playing together at the pool during finale week. Um, but watching it back, like I realized, like, oh man, like he really was antagonized by me more than I thought he was. Because you even see last night, like I'm sitting in the hammock and I'm kind of getting emotional talking with
Yeah.
him. I wouldn't have been that way if I knew how much he couldn't stand me. I thought we had kind of a relationship going. But yeah, and again, like just gameplay. I don't think he ever crossed the line into talking about me personally, and I certainly
No.
wouldn't with him. But our gameplays are so opposed to each other. Maybe less so actually than he thought, because I think I've proven I'm a super loyal player to the people I'm loyal
Yeah.
to. So if we'd gotten on from the beginning, that's fine. But it really was that one misunderstanding at the very beginning of the game that just blew us up, and we were never able to get back on the same page.
Talk to me about Mr. Beast. I'm sure you talked about this 1,000 times in all these chats. I guess like what I love about you is that you just enjoy playing the game, and this was an opportunity. You knew where your position was. Like there is a risk, but also it's not necessarily a risk because of the placement, and you're just going to go out there and have fun with it to make an iconic moment to live and breathe that. I'm sure you've spoken about it heaps, but what is something that maybe we haven't heard that comes from that moment from being there with Mr. Beast and flipping the coin and having the 2 million like the extra million added to the pot, the 2 million in total? Like what is that for you in that moment? Because surely, and just a side question to that, Rick, and this is not a good question, but surely there is going to be Rick Devens on a Mr. Beast video at some point in the future. Surely he's going to reach out.
I would hope so. I would
Yeah,
hope so. Let me
please.
bring my kids to meet you, Jimmy. No, I mean, you kind of nailed it. Like, I wanted that moment. It
Yeah,
worked out kind of strategically in the game because I did feel on the bottom and I wanted an idol in my hand. I hadn't had a real idol up to that point in the game. But dude, I live for these moments on Survivor. Like, I'm not a Survivor encyclopedia. I
yeah.
can't tell you where everybody places. Like, even out there in the game, people are like, Sheree and Ozzy like have played together all these times, right? And I'm like, no, what? I didn't realize that. But I remember like the Black Widow squad. I
Yeah.
remember, the spy nest. So that's what I want, is to be a part of these big moments, especially when I got so much joy out of watching those bigger moments back in season 38. So when
Yeah.
Mr. Beast walked out, and I'm like, this is the guy my kids and I watch more than they watch Survivor. I'm like, this was made for me. And I was a little out of my mind at the moment. Like, I was so confident, Ryan, that
Yeah.
I was going to nail that coin flip. There was no doubt in my mind. When I'm like, I was born for this, I believed it. Like, I was
It
like,
is.
this is all for me. And the more I saw other people kind of shrink away from it, like a little fearful of it, it just emboldened me to want it even more. So yeah, I felt like Jimmy, he didn't know it, but he was there to for the full Rick Devens experience.
I'm glad that he was there for the full Rick Devens experience. And I think regardless, I thought about it from the counter as well. What happens if it doesn't come up and it's the opposite? I think it's deflating. We obviously got the best outcome, but I still think for legacy, like it's still huge, it's still giant, regardless of the outcome. And Survivor's a game of risk. One of the things you talked a little bit about this season, and I really came through, especially towards the latter end of the show and in the last episode, is emotion out there as well, and feeling it, living under the stars of like the Fijian sky. What what was that? I guess two part: one, to reconnect with that space, go back to Fiji, be in that space, but two, I guess, play Survivor and feel the emotions of home, family, and everything else while connected to the game.
Yeah, it wasn't something I did too much the first time. Like, the only things that were getting me emotional the first time were missing my kids and that they were
Yeah,
so small that they didn't know where daddy was, right? Whereas this time it's like, I- dude, I wanted to go back on Survivor embarrassingly badly. Like, I wanted it so much. And part of the reason was because I've just never seen stars like that. And I guess if you go in the outback in Australia, you could probably see the
same.
exact same
Yep,
stars I'm talking about.
yep.
Um, so to finally get out there, I really did. I'm not going to get emotional right here, but I had, I've lost people since I'd played, a father-in-law, an uncle, a grandmother, and it was just in my head for some reason. I felt like I needed to get to Fiji to get under those stars, and I would feel them kind of more closely. And so that happened actually really early in the game. And I got to say,
Yeah,
like, Joe and Ozzy are both like these tough, manly men who are very open with their emotions and vulnerable, and they kind of allowed me to feel that way. And so that was something that just kind of hung over my whole game, was just allowing myself to feel that. And it was a really special thing. It was really healing, and like, I didn't really need to be healed, and yet I was healed. It was a really great experience.
yeah, I love that. Look, I love the energy of the people around you that allows the space to just be real and to feel that.
Yeah.
So that's such a cool thing. Rick, it's interesting. You had so much of your game highlighted and shown, but if I could give you the keys to the CBS editor suite, and you could find like an hour of lost footage, is there anything out there that you're like, oh damn, I wish that was highlighted or shown?
Yeah, there's one day, and it's obvious why it wasn't shown because there was nothing strategic about it.
Yeah,
But it was in the merge where we had a day off, like nothing to do that day, and those are the longest days. So I was like, can we take the boat out? Like, in 2 seasons, I've never taken the boat out in the ocean to do this.
yeah,
So Emily came with me, and Ozzy and Jonathan, like, we took them out, and then they start spearfishing, and they're, having a contest who can catch the most fish. Emily and I are in the boat just laughing about how chaotic our games have been. Then I'm getting in the water and failing at spear fishing, but Jonathan's like giving me a spear with a fish already on it so that we can joke around with the production guys that are out there in scuba gear.
yeah.
Like, it was just the most fun day with like one of my very close alliances in Emily, someone I had a very back and forth relationship with Ozzy, and then someone I'm adversarial with Jonathan. And yet out there we were just all having the best time in this beautiful ocean in Fiji. And it was really cool. It's almost more special that they didn't show it, that it's just like our memory now in a weird way. But it was a really special day.
I love that. Look, on Australian Survivor, that's a 20-minute montage, probably at the start of the episode.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's just I love that. Just on that, would you ever do not just Australian Survivor, but any of these other shows? I know there's lots of survivors who go off and do these other reality shows, traders, everything else. Would you ever consider that, or is Survivor just it for you?
Dude, I'm a Survivor loyalist for sure in terms
Yep.
of just they're my go-to and I love them. But I don't think they're going to need me for a while. And I do love Australian Survivor. I miss Jonathan. I thought David was one of my like great contestants. He and Luke's relationship is something that I really relate to. I'm like we'd be out there cracking jokes for sure. But yeah, dude, I love Australian Survivor. This 50-day thing, I don't know. That's crazy.
It's a
Mad
lot.
respect
It's a
to
lot.
all the people who've done that. But if Brooke and Simon can keep going out, I feel like I could, go out and do that. And yeah, I'm open to all these other things because I've just had so much fun. It's been Survivor's such a gift, so you just wonder what you'd get from these others.
Yeah, look, little inside baseball. They cut it to 45 recently, 45 days. So it's it's a little
There you
less.
go. I haven't gotten back in since like Rebels versus Titans or something. I've got to catch up on my Australian Survivor.
No, completely fine. Rick, I'll end there with my last question, and that is the concept of gratitude. And I think you've talked about it a little bit throughout, and I think it comes through in the way you play. Gratitude's such a big thing for me. It's how I like to wrap these podcasts. What are you grateful for from just Survivor more broadly?
Oh man, so much. I'm grateful for the friendships that have come from it. I'm grateful for the perspective it gives when you're that alone and hungry. Like you have new respect for what you can do, and you have, being away from my family just makes me want to come back and be a better dad. Like, see us. Speaking of great Australians, like literally
Yeah.
changed my life just monetarily. You know what I mean? Like in the most basic ways. So I could just sit here all day and check down a list of all the things I'm grateful to Survivor for.
Well, let's stay tuned for the finale next week because apparently there's some seer rumblings happening again, maybe. So we'll see how that does play out eventually.
I love cheap thrills, but I love expensive thrills too. So, you know,
I love that. Rick, I got to let you go. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it.
dude, this was fun, Ryan. I'm glad the stinger's working out for you.
Cheers. Cheers. See ya. Bye.
Cheers.